Like most of you, in the last few months, I've had more time cooking at home for my family than ever before.
Oh, yes.
It's been beautiful.
Who's hungry?
Oh, here we go. If not a little stressful at times. I've had the chance to look at ingredients that we all buy week in, week out.
Be wobbly.
You can be wobbly. And come up with some new recipes to break us out of our usual habits. It's charring up, it's spitting, it's crackling. Using the ingredients we love in totally different ways. Oh, you know that makes sense. To create simple, exciting and affordable meals. Can you imagine how delicious that's going to be? So whether you're feeding a crowd, home alone, getting ready for date night, or with a mob like mine.
Sausage pie, look at that. Mind your finger?
I can't wait to share these new recipes with you.
If you let it into your life, it will be a new favourite, I'm telling you.
When days are busy and you've got a lot of mouths to feed, the humble roast chicken is a thing of beauty. So I'm going to cook a delicious one-pan roast chicken. Now, the idea of stuffing a roast chicken isn't new, but the way I'm going to do it is.
Right. So my family is a bit topsy-turvy, probably like yours, and I want to do a dish that's good for everyone, from my 3-year-old right up to Jules. I've always got someone that likes certain things, some people that like others. So look, chicken winner, sausage winner, and I've got the simplest way to put the two together. There's a few little tips and tricks that amplify flavour and deliciousness. We're going to do beautiful Cumberland sausages under the skin. It's going to absolutely make that breast meat so succulent and tasty. It's just going to be so good. That's right, let's get cracking. So even though this is all about the chicken, let me just put that aside for a second. I want to make the most amazing sliced potato, parsnip and leek bake. The flavours of these three things together are amazing. So I'm literally just going to slice up a scrubbed parsnip. I haven't peeled them. The flavour is definitely in the skin. Go as thin as you comfortably can and just get slices like this. If it's ever a bit wobbly, go on that flat edge and we'll just slice through that again. So I'm kind of pulling my finger out because if I've learnt one thing in 20 years of marriage with my wife, it's do not be late for lunch. She keeps me on time, that's good. So 2 parsnips, about 700 grams of potatoes. You can use Mary's Pipers. I've just dug these up. Beautiful red skin potatoes, but it could be carrots, it could be celeriac, it could be turnips. You can muck about with it. Anything crunchy, any great root vegetable can be sliced up and put with this. With the leeks, I often look at them in 2 ways, right? You've got the white part that is just silky smooth. So we can do nice, sort of same size slices as the potatoes with this. And then where the sunlight has sort of seen the leeks, it's turned it green and it's a little bit tough. So what I tend to do with those darker parts is finely slice that a bit more if you can. It just helps the heat get to it. So in here, I'm going to add some sage leaves. You could use rosemary, you could use thyme. The nice thing as well, it's in one tray, so less to wash up. So perfect if you kind of got stuff to do or, you know, family running around and you want to kind of just enjoy the moment a little bit more. Who wants to wash up all day, right? So we're going to bring that together with a nice lug of olive oil, a good pinch of pepper, a good pinch of sea salt, and we'll give it a good old toss. So the genius thing here is I'm going to cook the chicken on top of it. So chicken juice is raining down on this potato dish. It's going to be really, really good. Right, let's get on to our chicken. Now, first up, I'm going to take some sage and do the only polite thing, which is stick some up the jacksie. That will flavour from the inside out for no reason other than aesthetics. If you want a nice knuckle on the end of the chicken bone, just run your knife around the top of the chicken leg, just like that. It's super simple. And then just disjoint it like that. And then you get that as a finish, which I think is better. Then we come to stuffing it. The challenge with roasting the perfect chicken is this breast meat often gets cooked before the legs, right? So what we can do is even up the cooking times by protecting the breast with a lovely Cumberland sausage. Get your finger and put it on one side of the breast. Can you see my finger under the skin? And just make a little bit of a gap. Then in with a spatula and just carefully pulling the skin at the tip towards you. You don't want to tear it. See how the spatula easily goes down, and that will prise a gap. Now, this means opportunity. Opportunity for herbs, marinades, and in this case, a ruddy good sausage. We're going to use this almost like a piping bag, right? So we can kind of squeeze it out. Now, there's nothing glamorous and visually appealing about this, but if you love food, you've got to go with the flow. This is family cooking here. I remember the first time I saw my mum stuffing the Christmas turkey, and I got shocked, but it's just love, it's flavour. So I'm going to squeeze the meat out of the sausage, right, and into this breast area. Get rid of the skin. What we're doing is creating like a little protective layer that will stop the heat from the oven getting to the breast as fast. On the other side, spatula in like that. Sausage number 2. It's just a really easy way to do it. You can shape it in and then just grab a cocktail stick. Then you can pull the skin over like that. See how I've gone through 2 bits of the skin? Then you can kind of wind it up like this and then secure it in here like that. What I'll do now is just wash my hands. You all right, River?
Yeah.
What's the matter with him, Jay?
He's having a meltdown about positions of seating.
Okay.
I want from that side.
Okay. Very demanding 3.5-year-old. So then just a little bit of olive oil on the chicken, a touch of salt and pepper. Rub that all over. We'll roast that in an oven now, any oven, at about 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit, for about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes, depending on how big your chicken is. As that roasts, it will drip onto that potato dish, and it will be double flavour. You got everything you need at the table? Look at this. So you can see how that chicken has been cooking and dripping juices onto the potatoes. So maximum flavour. Love that. I'll serve it in the roasting tray. Again, another less thing to wash up. The chicken I'll just let rest for a second. So here I've got some watercress. You can use any salad you want. I'm just giving it a little spin. So just wash it, spin it, get a lovely ripe pear, finely slice it like that. I'm going to go through the whole thing, seeds and all. Just go as fine as you can. That will start to discolour, so then we go in with some lemon, a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, and what's really nice is I've got resting juices coming out of the chicken here as well, which is delicious. And then we'll pour some of those resting juices on the salad. Beautiful. But what I really love about the kind of pear and watercress salad is it helps you kind of take a roast dinner to the summer, but also, I'm coming! Let me show you the benefit of this technique of stuffing. Take the cocktail stick out, just cut in the skin here, and this leg meat will just pull off. Pure tenderness right there. So I can joint that off like that. Look at that, beautiful chicken drumstick right there. The skin's gone wonderfully crisp. River, my little 3-year-old, loves the old crispy skin. And then we got the breast meat. So let's have a little look at this, because the idea of this Cumberland sausage is to protect the really delicate white breast meat. Look how juicy that is. Look at that cross-section. Just beautiful. Put that on the platter. I'll do all the work for the kids, because if I leave it to them, they'll just create carnage. Lunchtimes only go the right way about 5 times out of 10. Who's hungry? Come on then. Buds, can you take that to the table? There's a fork to serve. Make sure everyone gets salads. No one can creep out. Take these potatoes. There you go. Got it? I'm going to get every last bit of meat off this chicken. And I bet you it will all be gone. A beautiful roast chicken with a bit of a twist. Right then, who wants some chicken?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I've got a feeling that River's taking all the food. Right, Mummy, have you got a plate?
No, I'm just going to share with you.
I'll do your plate, Jules. There you go, Mum.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you like your lunch?
Yeah.
What was your best bit of the lunch?
I wanted my chocolate.
Yeah.
Where's the chocolate?
Why are you putting your fingers in my mouth? So here in my culinary potting shed, you know, the nice thing is I can kind of get myself away from trouble. You know, this is where I do experiments, this is where I do my pickling and smoking, fermenting. Often things might explode. It might be a bit messier than when I'm in front of my wife. But what I love to do in here is batch cook. I'm a massive believer that everyone should have a couple of big pans, even bigger than this, you know, for doing big vats of soup, chili con carnes. I think that a lot of cooking now is geared towards speed and efficiency and very busy people. But actually, on your days off, the ability to love something once, get it in the freezer in little portions, 2 portions, and it can keep loving you back in months to come. I love that. And I'm going to batch cook today a beautiful twist on a Bolognese. I'm going to show you a very British Bolognese. I've done a couple of little tweaks that I'm kind of excited about by using amazing smooth pale ale. I'm going to use cheddar instead of Parmesan, and then a brilliant twist on how to make a pasta that just wraps around that mincemeat in a very cool but fast and efficient way. So let's crack on with this. In this nice big ragu pan, I'll put in some olive oil. I'll start the story with a very reliable herb, rosemary, 2 or 3 sprigs into that oil, and that will be the beginning of flavour. Fantastic herb. You can put them in whole. The flavour will come out, but they'll be really crispy. Just give it a little move around. That was amazing. Another really good trick worth mentioning are these pre-chopped bags of carrots, onions and celery. I think they're really handy because you can kind of get into stew mode or soup mode, or in this case, Bolognese mode straight away. Those bags are 400 grams, so there's 800 grams in there. So the first lesson in getting maximum flavour in this Bolognese is do not rush this bit. We have to soften this veg, and we have to start lightly caramelising this veg. If we don't, if we just boil the veg, it's only ever going to be average. So let's let it do its business. Now, in this recipe, I'm using mushrooms, wonderful chestnut mushrooms. I think that this is brilliant because we're upping the veg, and they're almost going to act like the mincemeat. They're going to give you huge flavour and amazing colour. So I've got 500 grams for this big old batch, and I'm just going to slice it up, kind of make them the same size as the carrots and the onions, give or take. So, look, if you look in the pan now, you can see, and I can smell, that we're frying nicely. There's little bits of caramelisation starting to happen here. And I'm getting quite excited. Look, this idea of doing a British Bolognese wasn't kind of born out of being an idiot or just like being creative for no reason. Like, when I'm batching at the weekends, I always sort of like try new things. And actually, that's where this British Bolognese came from, kind of looking at British beer, cheddar cheese, you know, and trying to embrace it and make it part of the depth of flavour in this dish. So look, you can see now that all these lovely veggies are really soft and they're taking on colour. Now we go in with the mushrooms. Now, here's the thing about batch cooking. When you batch, you'll save money. And look, it's no more work. It's no more work. And that same love, care and focus that you put into this one batch here can keep giving you love back for many weeks to come from bagging it up and putting it in the freezer. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. And I love that. You can hear it's changing by adding the mushrooms. So mushrooms are mainly water. So they're now going to start giving water to the pan, and then it will go back to frying again. So I've got 1 kilo of beautiful minced beef. If you wanted to, you could do a blend of pork and beef, which is quite nice to do as well. Use the back of the spoon to break up the mincemeat. Carry on cooking this for another like 10, 15 minutes to get back to frying again. So look, it's had a nice little cook-off. So now is when I love to add the beer. So a beautiful pale ale goes in. It's got amazing malty flavours, really deep kind of chocolatey vibe. I'm gonna put a bottle in, about 500 mils. So what I want to do now is bring that to the boil, and cook it down. So next up, we've got the tinned tomatoes. So 4 tins of tomatoes will go in our ragu. Oh, hello. Are you hungry? Oh, you know what we're doing?
Buddy Bolognese and
Basically
tomato
wants Buddy's
sauce.
foods.
Tomatoes. Well, I'm putting tomatoes in now.
Do you want to put one in?
One of the important things is to cook the beer away, not just to intensify flavour, but to kind of get the alcohol out. So now we go in with the tomatoes, and we'll let that simmer for like 1 to 2 hours until really tender and delicious.
To blush that in.
Blush it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's this? Can I hold it?
It's a blusher.
You mean a masher? One of these? Do you want to use that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So get your 4 tins of tomatoes in, and then it's nice to fill 2 tins up with water. Babe, this will be cooking for an hour and a half, then serve up dinner?
Bye-bye.
Yeah, oh yeah. Have you got, what are you serving it with?
What am I serving it with?
Like, yes, spaghetti?
Pasta.
No,
Beautiful
what type of pasta?
It's
Special
spaghetti.
pasta.
Spaghetti.
Buddy,
Can you suck it up is what he's asking.
can you suck it up?
Kind of.
Please.
No.
What is it then?
It's a special pasta. Buddy's going to do it with me.
Spaghetti. Yeah, I want that.
Success.
Suck it up, River.
So there you go. If you're wondering why I have a kitchen in a shed far away from the house, then that's exactly why. So River wants spaghetti because he wants the pasta that you can suck up, right? He hasn't got that today. So that also just puts this very safe family meal at slight jeopardy, but that's all right. I'm not going to bow to his wants. Bring that to a boil and let that simmer for an hour or 2 until it's succulent, gorgeous and tender. And what I'm going to do then is show you how to make the most amazing pasta. It's a really cool little trick. Right, I've gained a little helper. I want to show you what I think is the coolest little hack for turning a sheet of fresh lasagna into a really beautiful thing. So, in the fridge, I've got 2 packs of fresh lasagna. Buddy, if you just separate those, my darling boy.
Yes.
And what's brilliant is, from the sheet of pasta, you know, normally people would make lasagna, right? I think we can do way more. What we can do is cut this into pappardelle by going 2 centimetres thick, tagliatelle, 1 centimetre thick, tagliolini, just even smaller than that, or you can make up a new shape. So all I do is slice down, gap, slice down, gap, slice down, and then kind of put it slightly ajar and do slice down, gap, slice down, gap. Can you copy that, Buds?
Yeah,
Because
maybe
you're gonna-
wobbly.
You can be wobbly. See where that gap is there, Buds? See that gap? Then I put another bit down there. So basically, score, gap, score, gap, score, gap, score. Once this is cooking, all these little cuts that I'm doing right now will open up, right? It's going to separate like a concertina. This is going to grab hold of the ragu and the sauce in a very different kind of cool way. So look, Buds, you do me one. Do me one more sheet so I can get cooking. I'm going to make a little portion for me now, just to kind of, you know, test. With the ragu, what we want to do is just check it for seasoning. So just try a little bit. Massive, big flavour. The beer and the mushrooms, amazing. I've got the rosemary in there as well. We'll adjust the seasoning for sure. So I've got a pan of boiling water. If you want, you can put a little oil in the water. This will help these not stick together. And then we'll literally drop this into the water and the other one and the other one. The brilliant thing about this pasta is that it cooks in like 3 minutes. Can you see how all the little cuts are opening up? Nice, well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So, Buds, can you go and rally the troops?
Yeah.
Good man, off you go. So, let me just show you how I love to serve this dish. I'll put in a little bit of the ragu here, just a couple of spoons. Then I'll take that amazing pasta. Look at the shape of it. A little splash of water, by the way, just to make it oozy. A kiss of oil. And then the last very British ingredient, some cheddar. It really melts beautifully. And then I like to use 2 spoons just to almost dress it like a salad. But just look how gorgeous this serves up. The little ribbons, the little slashes, and you can see how the pasta's clinging onto the sauce in a very different way. Look at that. And I just find this way You go from the everyday to something really sublime. A beautiful little take on the great Bolognese. Right, let's have a little try. Wowzers. The beer has this big malty flavour, but there is an underlying bitterness, right? But then when it's contrasted with the sweetness of the ragu, the vegetables, the tomatoes, that is so tasty. I'll let the ragu cool down and then I'll bag it up and I can freeze it. I'm really pleased with that. These are reusable, so these are quite cool, as you can use them, freeze them, and then you can like dishwash them. They're fantastic instead of using disposable stuff all the time. Just squeeze the air out and then zip it up like that. I always put them down flat like that, and then when they freeze, they almost freeze like little books. And then when they're frozen, you can kind of rack them up and you have a whole line of future meals that you can enjoy. Right, who wants pasta first?
Me.
Me!
Buddy, your pasta's great. Buddy, hungry, very hungry or medium hungry?
I'm medium.
Enjoy, big boy.
This pasta kind of is the sucky one.
Oh, see, it's sucky pasta.
It's gone quiet all of a sudden. I can't hear River anywhere. Is it nice?
Yeah.
Like most of you, in the last few months, I've had more time cooking at home for my family than ever before. Oh, yes.
It's been beautiful.
Who's hungry? Oh, here we go. If not a little stressful at times.
I've had the chance to look at ingredients that we all buy week in, week out,
Be wobbly.
You can be wobbly.
and come up with some new recipes to break us out of our usual habits,
It's charring up, it's spitting, it's crackling.
using the ingredients we love in totally different ways
Oh, you know that makes sense.
to create simple, exciting, and affordable meals.
Can you imagine how delicious that's going to be?
So whether you're feeding a crowd, home alone, getting ready for date night, or with a mob like mine,
Sausage pie, look at that. Mind your finger?
I can't wait to share these new recipes with you.
If you let it into your life, it will be a new favourite, I'm telling you.
Sometimes you've got to make use of what you've got to hand. And whether homegrown or shop bought, we want new dishes to make mealtimes exciting.
So recently, I've had a bit more time to focus on simple ingredients, particularly vegetables. And that whole thing as a parent, trying to get more of the good stuff into my family. And of course, I want them to enjoy it, right? So cauliflower is a veggie that most of us buy most weeks. And that kind of set me off because cauliflower cheese is a win-win. It's a home run, right? But if I go to another world, which is the world of pasta, that's another home run. So how about we bring the two worlds together? Delicious, silky smooth, cheesy, cauliflowery pasta with crunchy, garlicky breadcrumbs. It's gonna be a texture and flavour sensation. So I bet and I'm not judging, that most of us get the cauliflower, do that, pick all this up, and throw it in the bin. In the compost, I've done it myself. But what I want to do is use these outer leaves in my crunchy breadcrumbs. Because if you put a pan on the heat, kiss it with some oil, take these outer leaves, put a little pinch of salt on it, and you fry it, we're going to make, essentially, like a culinary veggie crisp. And that is going to be used as a flavour enhancer in my crunchy breadcrumbs. Look what's happening. It's funky, it's deep, it's got umami, the fifth flavour. So I want that. I don't want it in the bin, I want it in my tummy. The moral of the story is there's some really tasty stuff going in the bin. And if you want to save yourself money, give yourself more nutrition, and probably most importantly, give yourself more pleasure, we can cook with it. So I want to just finely chop it. Also, I'm going to use garlic. This is fresh garlic from my garden. What's really interesting about fresh garlic is the first month and a half you can use all the way up to here. And then like every week, you can use less and less and less and less. And then it starts to become papery and dry like we know it. But actually, it's almost like a giant spring onion when it's first harvested, which is pretty exciting. So look, I'm just going to cut that up, take the end off. I want sort of 2 big fat cloves. I'll use a few more of mine because it's a little bit smaller. Just finely slice or grate. Put a pan on the heat, kiss it with some oil, go in with the garlic. That's going to scent the oil and it'll be delicious. Look at that. Then I'm going to go in with cauliflower leaves that could have gone in the bin. The flavour goes deep and delicious. And then in with a couple of handfuls of breadcrumbs. About 35% of all the bread we buy ends up in the bin. But a fantastic way to not waste bread is to make what they call in Italy a pangrattato or pangrattato. It's crispy breadcrumbs. And in old Italian cooking, and if they couldn't afford Parmesan to give it that saltiness and that richness and that big flavour, they would use this. They'd fry breadcrumbs. Think of it like little mini croutons. Look at that. Look at the colour. Fry that for about 10 to 15 minutes. When it's golden and crisp, it's done. That is amazing on pastas, raviolis, soups, stews, salads. Really, really cool. In actual fact, if I don't serve this with a pasta dish, normally my kids get a bit aggro. It's like, oh, come on, Dad, you know. So it's a great way of using up potentially wasted bread. Right, let's make the simplest creamy cauliflower sauce. I think you're gonna love it. You need 400 grams of cauliflower. I wanna just slice this up into little bits in a pan. Put in 400 millilitres of milk. Go in with the cauliflower. Slice up 1 onion and get that in as well. Give the onions and cauli a nice little mix up. We'll have a little pinch of salt just to get the seasoning happening, lid on top, and we'll simmer that for about 10-15 minutes until the cauliflower's tender. Now, when I was coming up with this, what I was trying to achieve was a really clean, simple, sweet cauliflower flavour, right? And a really pale white sauce. So one of the lovely things about cooking the cauliflower like this, it's almost like poaching fish, right? You do that in milk. With the cauliflower, you know, it's infusing delicate flavours. It's a very simple sauce. 7 ingredients for this whole dish, and it's just a nice thing to think about now that simple pleasures, simple ingredients, a little bit of love, care, you know, looking at things that you might just throw in the bin, and it's a dish that my kids will just destroy. Breadcrumbs done, sauce beautifully cooking. The nice thing is, my little boy River loves sucky pasta, as he calls it, and loves the fact that it's sort of whipping him everywhere. There's sauce everywhere. You know, they just like mess, don't they, kids? So I've got 300 grams of spaghetti. Of course, you can use any pasta you like. I personally love sort of the noodle-style pasta with this, so you can suck it all up, and it clings to the sauce really, really well. So I've seasoned this water. Just get your pasta, twist it, and then in we go. I'll cook that for about 10, 12 minutes, but just look at the packet instructions. I think the sauce is done now. You could make exactly the same sauce with any vegetable that you love and do exactly the same. So instead of a white, fresh-looking sauce, you could have carrots, orange, you know, broccoli, green, squash, orangey, reddy. Do you know what I mean? You can have real fun with this as a principle. I love that about recipes, when it's flexible and generous. All you have to do now is liquidize that sauce. So in we go with all the cauliflower and onions, and then add 70 grams of cheddar cheese. It does a really good job of seasoning this sauce, but also giving it that ooze, that stickiness. If you wanted to use a potato masher and have a rustic sauce, you can. You can use a stick blender, no trouble at all. I like the simplicity and the smoothness. Oh, it's just, it's that. Come on, make cauliflower cheese, but smooth. And now we're gonna throw it on pasta. It's the simplest but most brilliant thing. So where's me colander? I love cooking out here because I don't get told off for mess, which is great. And then I can do things like this. But you've got to be careful. You want to save a little bit of that water as well. Let's put this amazing dish together. I'm so excited to show you. Tumble in our lovely spaghetti. I've cooked that al dente, so slightly undercook it. And then the amazing cauliflower cheese sauce. Silky, heavenly, and actually that pasta's absorbing that sauce. Ho, ho, ho. Come on, cauliflower cheese pasta. If you let it into your life, it will be a new favourite, I'm telling you. It's getting quite thick now. So that's why we save a little bit of this starchy water, because the elegance of this dish is in the consistency. Oh, look at that. I just love the way that that just clings to the sauce. Oh, yes, sexy beast. Then imagine comboing that up with audacious crunch. Funky bits of the cauliflower leaves and garlic. I'm telling you, do not throw those little green bits of cauliflower leaves away, and the bread. There's something beautiful to be had. As you go in with a fork and start twiddling that pasta, by default, it will start picking up all those crunchy bits. I mean, look, you know what cauliflower cheese tastes like. Clean and cheesy and gorgeous. That pasta is another level. I'm so into this. Get it on those breadcrumbs, look at that. Whoa, you know that makes sense. I'm so happy. You could reheat that if you wanted to, but I would suggest just crack an egg or two into that, in a pan, breadcrumbs on top, put it in the fridge. When someone wants something nice, pop it in the oven for half an hour and you get the most amazing cauliflower cheese spaghetti pasta cake. That's good as well. I really suggest you have a go at this. That's phenomenal. It's full of the good stuff and just so tasty.
Some of my favourite meals growing up were delicious but quite indulgent. So I've come up with a family-friendly take on a classic chicken Kiev, making it better for you but keeping all the flavour.
My kids absolutely love chicken Kiev, and it's something that I love to do
beautiful crispy chicken with the gorgeous garlicky butter on the inside that oozes out. But you know what? Sometimes all that frying can be a bit unhealthy. So I love the challenge of being able to look at it and see, can I kind of clean it up a bit? Can I make it a bit healthier? So I'm going to show you how to do chicken Kiev with a little bit of a twist. And we're going to serve it with the most delicious mashed potato with broccoli and peas. My kids love it. The genius of the Kiev is that flavoured butter goes in the middle of the chicken breast. So it's flavouring from the inside out. So we're going to start with that lovely garlic butter. 2 cloves of garlic. I want to grate the garlic so it's nice and strong. And then I'm going to mix it up with parsley. They're the classic flavours. But when it comes to flavoured butters, you can hit it with different herbs, you can hit it with spice, you can chop up things like anchovies, lemon zest, all kinds of lovely things. So when you've done that, parsley, really, really important, super clean, quite irony, and I'm going to take a little bunch like that, and I'm going to use the stalks as well. The stalks are super tasty. So just twist it in half, kind of compact it all, and then I'm just going to finely slice it. Salt and pepper goes on. Put a little bit of lemon zest in there as well. That's going to really freshen it up. Take a wodge of butter, about 30 grams or so. Get it to room temperature and just mix it all up. You can freeze that and keep it for months, and that is going to be absolutely delightful inside that chicken. Now, get your chicken on a board. There's 4 of us today, so we've got 4 breasts. And the idea is to get this butter inside this breast. So let me show you the best way to create a little pocket. Can you see there's a fat part here and a thinner part here? So get your knife, get the tip, and put it in to the fat part, just like that. It's really simple, and you just kind of sculpt a little pocket. Then just get under this side to make like a flap. And this will allow you to wrap butter in the chicken itself. Then we go to our butter, and let's divide this into 4, like that, very roughly. Take that, and you can kind of mould it into this shape. Just open up that cavity, get that butter in there, pull over the chicken to seal it up, and then put it on its breast side like that. Any leftover butter you can just rub on them because it's all seasoning and deliciousness. Let me wash my hands. Now, with a normal Kiev, you go flour, eggs, breadcrumbs, right? It's a whole load more washing up, deep fry it or shallow fry it, and it's a load more calories. So how do we get that kind of healthier twist? I'm going to use phyllo pastry. It's a fantastic thing to have in your fridge or freezer. You can get it in all the supermarkets. But the one thing it will do is dry up fairly quickly. So get yourself a clean cloth and some cold water, and just get your cloth damp. This will stop your phyllo pastry going brittle and breaking. I'll just lay this down like so. Unroll your phyllo. And then when you're not using it, you can just do that. It will keep it lovely and soft. So we're going to take 1 sheet at a time. We'll lay it here like that, and I'll cover it every single time. Then what I want to do is gather the phyllo like this, slowly, slowly, ripple it, get the chicken, place it on, and remembering underneath is where the butter is. Roll it, and roll it. The butter is facing up, so the likelihood of it spilling out is much less. So that's the first one. Next sheet of phyllo, cover it again. When you crimple it, don't be stressed, just go rough and ready. It will create beautiful waves. That's texture, crispy bits. Before I pop these in the oven, what I want to do is give it a little brush with something delicious that's going to make it go golden and gorgeous. So all I'm going to do is add to the corner of this tray a little olive oil, just a tablespoon, and then a swig of vinegar, and then a little pepper. Then you just need a little brush. You've just made a simple dressing, but what's great is the vinegar will flavour that pastry, and the oil will give it a beautiful golden colour. Look at that. Gorgeous.
So look, if you wanted to get ahead of the game, you could do this the day before. You could times it by 2 or 3 or 4 for a dinner party, easy. You can even freeze it, no trouble at all. But today, this is going in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 400 Fahrenheit. I'll put it at the bottom of the oven, and that way this will get crispy and that will get golden. And that's gonna go in for 25 minutes exactly. So in that time, I'm gonna make a gorgeous smashed potato with beautiful sweet peas and broccoli. Super easy and a fantastic way to get loads of veg in the kids. I've got 800 grams of beautiful Maris Piper potatoes, and all I want to do is just quarter up these potatoes with the skin on. I've washed them, I'm not going to peel them. A lot of the nutrition is in the skin. Boil those for like 12 or 15 minutes until the potatoes are soft. Here, I've got some nice sprouting broccoli from the garden, but you can use any broccoli. Just take the stalk off, just roughly chop them, and I'll put those in with the potatoes now, because they take a little bit more cooking. With these lovely floury broccoli tips, I'm just going to toss this in a little bit of oil and vinegar, and a little pinch of seasoning, and then 10 minutes before the chicken is cooked, put this in the tray with the chicken, and they cook beautifully. A little bit caught and really soft and tender as well. So it's going to be a lovely dish, full of veg. With about 10 minutes to go, let's have a little look here. So this is nearly cooked. Just scatter these lovely broccolis in and around the tray. Now, this goes back into the oven for its final 10 minutes, and that is perfect timing for me to show you how to do this beautiful mashed potato. So, I want to add frozen peas now. About 400 grams goes in to our spuds. Are already partially cooked, so they don't need much cooking, and we want to keep their colour. Let me just go and shout for the kids, because they always tend to get lost when I'm doing dinner. Guys, dinner! I don't want to shout like that, but the fact is, I'll serve up dinner, and 15 minutes later, no one will be there. They seem, as they get older, to disappear. So look, as soon as that's boiled, I'm happy, right? Look how green that is. So I'm going to drain this into a colander. What I love about this dish, it has a really nice natural rhythm to it. The prepping, the rolling, the baking, the veg and the potatoes that go with it, it's all kind of a nice flow. So go in with our veggies, a little seasoning, a little olive oil, and then I'm going to take a masher and give it a good smash up. And I just love sweet peas, mashed potato, with all that lovely garlicky parsley butter from the Kiev. Wow. And look, instead of peas, you could go spinach, asparagus. It's a really nice, flexible little technique. Veg is done. Let's have a look in the oven. It smells incredible. Wow. Right, let me plate one portion up for me, because it's my job to tell you how it tastes. So a nice big old lump of that smashed rustic pea mash. Just kind of create a crash mat. A crash mat for our chicken. Take some of this broccoli and just kind of lay it over the top. It's so tender and delicious. It's a really nice method to make your standard greens go the extra mile. Let's go for a nice chicken. It's just dripping with gorgeousness. You can leave them whole, but what I like to do is cut it in half so I can check the chicken is cooked. Look at the garlic butter. Come on, that's so nice. And then on top with the crispy bits. Wowzers. Right, I've got to be fast because the kids will be waiting. The chicken breast is so tender. Not only is the phyllo pastry getting crunchy, but it's protecting the chicken breast. So it's kind of steaming on the inside out with that lovely garlic butter. I love it. Right, let me just plate up. I've actually got another one turn up. So the nice thing about the slices is 4 breasts can stretch. So this is going to do 5 today. This sort of thing happens all the time. You cook for 4, 5 turn up. You cook for 10, 2 turn up. It's like typical. River, which one do you want? I got crispy chicken, mashed potato, one for you.
Mashed potato and broccoli. That is
That one's for you, my darling.
Okay.
Ay, ay, ay.
Mum, let's swap.
Let's swap. Well, you want more portion?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Go away.
Did you tell Dad what happened today? Oh my goodness me.
What happened?
How big was the fish that we caught?
What cooked fish?
I say we. Buddy caught it. How big
You caught a
was the
fish?
Yeah. No, he caught 4. But
You
they
caught
were,
4 fish?
They were massive, like that big.
Did you have a happy day?
Yeah.
Like most of you, in the last few months, I've had more time cooking at home for my family than ever before. Oh, yes.
It's been beautiful.
Who's hungry? Oh, here we go. If not a little stressful at times.
I've had the chance to look at ingredients that we all buy week in, week out,
Be wobbly.
You can be wobbly.
and come up with some new recipes to break us out of our usual habits,
It's charring up, it's spitting, it's crackling,
using the ingredients we love in totally different ways
Oh, you know that makes sense.
to create simple, exciting, and affordable meals.
Can you imagine how delicious that's going to be?
So whether you're feeding a crowd, home alone, getting ready for date night, or with a mob like mine,
Sausage pie, look at that. Mind your finger?
I can't wait to share these new recipes with you.
If you let it into your life, it will be a new favourite, I'm telling you.
When you're cooking for those you love, it's good to have some new recipes up your sleeve to make everyone happy. And I've got a totally new delicious spin on a cannelloni.
My lot are always asking for pasta. They love it. And I think for me, I'm always trying to come up with new ways of doing it, reinventing it, and just kind of stopping myself from getting bored. So this is a great dish. We're going to do a beautiful mushroom cannelloni with a gorgeous, oozy, cheesy sauce. I think it's a family classic. You know, certainly in the last couple of months, I've really loved doing dishes where I can kind of prep it in the morning, finish it at lunch or dinner time. So this is perfect for that. It's a real family-friendly dish. So cannelloni, these little tubes. I remember when I was like 8 years old, I'd had the lasagnas, I'd had the Bologneses, and then my mum rattled out a cannelloni, and I'm like, just a minute. The idea of kind of stuffing these tubes with beautiful things. Of course, a classic cannelloni that us Brits know has meat in it. And this is going to be like a meat-free dish. And me and my family, we're trying to do meat-free at least 2-3 times a week, at least. And we love it. So mushrooms, I think, are perfect for this. I'm using one of the most common mushrooms, chestnut mushrooms, and the depth of flavour you can get from those, if you cook them right, is unbelievable. So with a cannelloni, I'm thinking about it in layers. So we've got the cannelloni with the mushroom, we've got the beautiful cheesy white sauce on top, but I want to put some lovely greens at the bottom. I've got some spinach growing, so I've taken that. You can use the bag spinach, easy, easy peasy. If you've got someone in your house that completely disagrees with any kind of meat-free day, this recipe is probably quite a good one to get them on, because if this is made right, they probably wouldn't even notice the difference, right? Because this has the depths of flavour that you'd get from a lovely cannelloni. So I've caught people out loads of times before. So look, the residual moisture in these greens will just steam and wilt. So really clean, simple cooking. This will take like 30, 40 seconds. If you didn't have spinach, it could be like peas or, you know, beautiful roasted squash or pumpkin. I think that's what we need now more than ever. You know, what's in the fridge, what's in the freezer? Oh, I haven't got that. Well, I can try that in there. So how quick was that, right? And that can then go in the bottom of our tray. This is going to get cascaded with cheesy sauce and the seasoning from the mushrooms. So this won't go short on flavour, just a little kiss of salt. Right, that's the beginning of the story. Let's get on to business. So in this pan, I want to cook down leeks, which I love, and onions. They have the ability to give massive flavour. They also caramelise beautifully. So in the pan, olive oil will go straight in with the onions. And then as I prep each vegetable, just add it to the story. So a little bit of pepper, and I've got some garlic, just finely slice it up. Straight in the pan. So what I love about the leek is the green part has more of a spring oniony flavour, but the white part is like silky and buttery and tender and really like luxurious. So I love using both of those parts. So just slice up the white part straight in there. With the greener stuff, I tend to chop this up finer anyway, just to help it cook. What's happening in the pan now is softness, sweetness, depth of flavour, and then we're going to add the mushrooms. You can make this with the flashiest mushrooms, porcini, girolles, chanterelle, trompette de mort, truffles, I don't care. Or you can do it with a button mushroom and everything in between. And they all taste amazing. They're really nice to test your tap chopping. And if your chopping's not great, you have to remember every time you cook a dinner, you're able to sort of like pick up a skill. And if you can tap chop nicely, right, it just speeds up your cooking. 4-leaf clover, again. Have you made a wish? Okay, make sure it's a nice one. Right, big boy, we're making cannelloni. Give it a little seasoning with salt and pepper, but don't rush this. There's quite a lot of veg gone in here, right? If it just boils, it's going to be bland and miserable, don't bother. If you want to make this extraordinary, just 15 minutes of stirring and frying will be amazing. So look, that's the pasta there. So the cannelloni I grew up with was almost like the Bolognese mincemeat goes inside, but roasted pumpkin in this exact way, amazing. You know, take beautiful courgettes and mint, exactly the same way here, incredible. So it's a really flexible workhorse for your family. Thank you. Come back and see us in a little bit, and you can help us put it together if you want.
Yes.
Go and find your mad brother.
Okay.
Stuffing's done. So chop that up into a fine texture, almost like mincemeat. Simply put this on a board. You can use a food processor, no worries at all. As much as I love those gadgets, this is how proper cannellonis would have been done in the old school, right? This is how the nonnas, the grandmothers of Italy would have done it. They wouldn't have all those electrical things. So what's different is you create your own puree just with one blade. And then it just feels so homemade. And you get more texture. So look, if you lay it out flat, let that cool down. Let me make a really simple white sauce. Super simple. So no butter today. In the same pan that we made the mushrooms, go in with 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons also of plain flour goes in. You don't have to make it with butter. Classically, yes, but in real life, no. Olive oil's fine. The same thing happens is it comes together like this to make what they call a roux. Looks a bit like breadcrumbs, but this is a thickening agent. If you just toast it a little bit, you'll get it to be really nutty and slightly darker, which I quite like. So in there, we're gonna add some milk. I'm just gonna add it slowly, slowly. So as we add the milk, you can see it getting thicker and thicker. I mean, this is never gonna be silky, silky smooth. That's cool. We're doing a really nice rustic white sauce. It's even got the odd bit of mushroom in it. It's all good. This is home cooking. So I'm gonna go now from spoon to whisk. You don't have to, but it kind of just helps speed things up a little bit. Then we can get all of that milk in there. That's quite a rushed version, and to be honest, that's what I always do at home. I'm not sitting there doing it like when I was at college, you know, getting a slap round the back of the hand for not adding it slow enough. You know, I've got a family here to feed. There's stuff going on. So look, as the white sauce does its magic, let's fill these cannellonis. So literally all I do is stab around like that. It'll fill up half. Can you see that? It's done half already. Right? You can put your finger in if you want. It's fun, isn't it? Look. And then turn it around, do the other half. It's as simple as that. And that is your beautiful mushroom stuffed cannelloni. I think the best gadgets in the kitchen that you can use are your hands. So I don't get much happier than this. This is about as good as it gets for me. Outside, decent day, cooking really gorgeous, tasty, humble family food. And kids are playing, they're dotting about. Just, that's what makes me happiest, honestly. Okay, so look, there we go. A tray full of beautiful cannelloni. This little mess on the board, the leftovers, don't be inclined to throw that away, because it's still flavour. All these little bits kind of help make it a bit gnarly and full of flavour. Off the heat now, because I'm very happy with that consistency. That consistency we want to basically have sort of to coat a spoon, like that. So I'm going to take this blipping away white sauce and put a nice big handful of grated cheese in there. I'm using cheddar. You could put a bit of blue in there. You could use Parmesan, but basically a nice big handful goes in. So let's get that over the top here. And all those little gaps in between the cannelloni will let this incredible sauce, look how oozy it is, yeah. And you can see the chunks of leftover mushroom in there. That's the nice thing about sort of not using another pan, saving on the washing up, get more flavour. Last but not least, I'm just going to put these little bits of mushroom on top. Just a few little slices, kind of in and around, and then just a little drizzle of oil. So this will go in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 40 to 45 minutes until golden, blipping and delicious. Right, time to clean down. I can hear it sizzling. So it's at about 40 minutes. The wood oven's just a little bit hotter. Look at that, come on. In Italy, this would often be done on a Sunday, and they go to church. That'll be in the back of the car. It's a nice little quick reheat at someone else's house. Whole family comes together. This kind of cooking is all about family. So I've got 6 very generous portions there. We're a family of 7, so it's perfect. You know, the little one might get 2 little cylinders. Buddy might have 3 or 4. You can kind of play it by ear. Because we've got that lovely cheesy sauce, you get all the crispy bits. Look at the crispy bits. Yes. And then, of course, we added that lovely stack of greens. Can you see how it's kind of holding itself together? Crispy bits, the greens, the tubes full of the good stuff. I love it. Nice little wodge of salad. So there you go. For sure, it's got to be one of the best meat-free meals ever, whether you're vegetarian or not. Right, let's get amongst it. That lovely salad leaf, quite like using that as a receptacle. Look at that. Oozy, melty, mushroomy, crunchy, fresh. So good. I mean, I love meat, but when you kind of win on veggie food, big flavour. Oh, yeah. Kids! Lunch! I'm just going to put it down, middle of the table, let everyone help themselves, and I know they're going to be happy. I'm gonna cook myself something delicious. And actually this dish was inspired by my teenagers because they love prawns. They've gone mad for them in any way, shape or form. And because they love them so much, I've got to think of so many different recipes to have with them. So I'm gonna turn these prawns into a beautiful kebab, a fantastic kebab. And for me, a kebab always feels exciting. You know, it's about how you rack it up, the combinations. So we're gonna do beautiful prawns with sweet roasted peppers and amazing little bread croutons cooked on a grill, or you could do it under a grill in the kitchen or in a pan if you want. It's gonna be delicious. So first up, let's make a very simple marinade, kind of inspired by, let's say, Mediterranean Greek flavors, parsley, garlic, lemon. I'm gonna go a little kiss of olive oil. And then what we wanna do is balance that with some acid from a lemon. Now, before you squeeze the juice of a lemon in there, if you get a little grater like this, the zest is amazing. Mega flavour. Squeeze some juice in there as well. A little light seasoning of pepper. I'll take some parsley, leaves and stalks. We'll just roll this up and give it a good little chop. So parsley goes in, then get a nice big fat clove of garlic and grate it so we got that garlicky hit. And look at that. That is a fantastic marinade for meat, for fish. You know, you can brush that onto lovely little flatbreads. Very, very nice. So we can go in with the prawns. These came in the shell, and all I did was take the head off like this, then remove the shell all the way down like that, and then I leave that little bit on the end. They get quite crispy and really tasty. And then just run a knife down the back of the prawn and remove the little vein like that. And then when that cooks, that will open up like a little butterfly. This is brilliant because it allows it to cook quicker and take on more flavour. And of course, if you've made a beautiful marinade like we have, it's gonna take it all on board. So in with those prawns, it's about 160, 170 grams in there. And then, here's the thing. If you're into true flavour, right? Some people will hate this, but this is what cooking is really all about. Get the head, and then just squeeze the head to let all the juices come out. Some of you will be like, no, don't do that. Well, that is where the flavour is. I can't lie to you. Okay, so once the prawns are in, you can give them their first little massage in our lovely marinade. Look at the colours, the freshness. And actually the lemon juice will start to just slowly change the colour of the prawns a little bit. So next, bread. This is kind of a little bit stale, but when you're using stale bread like this, you can use it to be the most incredible kind of companion to the prawns. And all I'm going to do is cut this slice, which is 1 centimetre thick, in half, and then go into little kind of chunks, about 1 inch. So the bread I'll now throw in with the prawns. And here's the thing, when you're eating this, I promise you, like, it's all delicious. It's not like, oh, there's the posh prawn and there's that bit of like stale bread. No, 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 no. It will suck up all the flavour and it's gonna be amazing. And then we come to these little jarred roasted peppers. You can get them in all the supermarkets and these are fantastic. Someone has lovingly roasted these peppers and peeled them. The sweetness that you get is amazing. So we're just gonna tear those open and cut them into little strips. And we'll just lay those strips. Look at the colours, guys. Green, red, really beautiful. And if you want, take a little bit of the juice that comes in it and just pour that in. So toss all of that up again. The peppers will flavour everything. The garlic and marinade will flavour everything. And those little bits of stale bread will rehydrate and take on all the juices from everything. Of course, you know, you could swap the peppers out for different vegetables, courgettes, onions. You could have a little bit of bay leaf on there if you want. You can try different breads. You can have different types of seafood, nice little chunks on there. And you can even, of course, go into meat, things like chicken and poultry. You know, these are kind of like really everyday things that we can get our hands on. Now, it's how we put it together that we make it not everyday, that we make it really, really, truly special. So look, let's rack one up. I believe in investing in just 4 or 8 lovely metal skewers. Honestly, you'll have them for life, and I think they're really, really useful. I'll take a bit of pepper, and I'll go through the end like that, and then I'll take a bit of bread, and I'll push it through like that, and then I'll take the pepper round and just cozy it up, right? That's what a beautiful kebab is all about. Buddying up different things so it takes on the flavours of other things. You don't want to overpack them in. You want the heat from the grill to breathe around everything so everything's cooking at the same time. And look, you could spice it with different spices. I love fennel seeds, smoked paprika. Just have fun with it. I quite like the idea of just taking time, slow it down, And it's nice to make it look like you've cared and really tried. Every time I do kebabs in my house, everyone gets excited. Have a little look at this, come on. It's a beautiful thing. It's about how it's all interwoven, how it's all gonna flavor each other. You know, as you're turning it, what gets crispy, how, when, why, what. Look at that. You know that's gonna cook good. Look at that. The bread will be so delicious, I can't tell you. I mean, ultimately, any sort of robust, spongy bread, white or brown or sourdough is really, really good. And when they're stale, they just seem to absorb a lot of flavor. And that's the thing, you know, prawns are quite expensive and they're an investment. So the bread is almost like giving you the ability to stretch that by 50%. Do you know what I mean? That looks generous, right? But there's only like 6 prawns on it. Instead of the marinade and flavor dripping into the barbecue, they're actually kind of dripping into the bread. And the bread becomes, I believe, just as delicious as any other part of this kebab. Love it. And then we're ready to rock and roll. Let me just wash my hands. Okay, so we're gonna take these lovely skewers and grill them. That's the sound I love. Now, in the same time that I cook these beautiful skewers, I want to make a sweet tomato sauce. And it's a very, very quick, basic tomato sauce recipe, but I love it. So 2 cloves of garlic. Now, when I'm cooking on the barbecue, I often use pans as well. And that means you can steam or fry, you know, mix up your cooking methods, even if you're outside barbecuing. And I like that. It's not just about direct grilling. Keep an eye on those lovely kebabs. Give them lots of love, TLC. Yeah, look at those. So in you go with your oil. And then we'll sprinkle in the garlic. And then we're gonna go in with some tinned tomatoes. Now you can use any tinned tomatoes you like. What I love using at the moment is these cherry tinned tomatoes. And actually, they're more economical than buying fresh cherry tomatoes. Just seasoned like this with a little bit of lemon juice. That's your basic sweet tomato sauce. Should you wish to put in there some capers or some olives or a little bit of anchovy, joyful. Today, I've got some amazing peas from the garden, right? So you can just put a few peas in, literally raw at the end, because that tomato sauce is already done, it's finished. It's as simple as that. So let's plate one of these up. I'll take my lovely skewers onto the board here, sizzling away. And I really love all the little cork bits of bread, the little charred bits, fantastic. Tomato sauce, just take a little spoon of that onto a plate. Look at that. Take that lovely skewer straight on there like that. And then just a couple of little raw peas. To finish it off, a little bit of feta cheese. And let those lovely, crumbly little bits of salty, tangy feta go along the whole plate. For me, that is a thing of beauty. Colours, combo. I love a kebab. I'm gonna treat myself to a little bit of cold rosé. Gotta look after myself, right? Right, let's get amongst it. Wow, that's just the bread. Unbelievable. Crunchy, but still juicy. And then that lovely little prawn. Nicely cooked, gnarly on the outside, and still nice and juicy on the inside. Full of flavour, wow. Go on, give it a little go. For a lunch, long lunch, nice summer dinner, happy days.